Welcome to the Museum Roadshow. Today we're over at the Audubon School. It's May 2011. The original Audubon School was built in 1886. It was a wooden structure that was lovingly called Old Faithful. And when Old Faithful was torn down, it was replaced with a brick building in 1922. And now this building has fulfilled its useful life and is soon to be torn down here in June of 2011.
I personally spent 36 years in this building. I came in as a 6th grade teacher in 1975 and taught at different grade levels, but mostly in 6th grade. And before I became principal here, I taught up in one of the old rooms in this building for almost 20 years. So a lot of important events in my life happened in this building too, and attached to it. So it's going to be hard for me to see it go down. But it has been in existence and constantly in use since 1922, 89 years. It's a lot of history. And you think of the hundreds of teachers, thousands of students that have gone through this building. You walk through it, you can almost hear the echoes of the voices and the reflections of many faces of the kids that went through this building. So it's important to remember its history and to honor that past as we go into the future.
I started in about 1943 or 42, and I think, yeah, and Roger, my oldest brother, started in about 39. I think I'd start off with the size of the school. It was only about 80 students, maybe 90 in high school, and it would be about I suppose 15 to 20 in each grade. The rooms, it was 2 grades. In grade school, it was two grades to every room. First and second, third and fourth, and fifth and sixth, seventh and eighth. And then when you got to be a mighty freshman, of course, you moved into the assembly hall, and that's where you met in the morning before you transferred to your rooms for your various studies.
And of course, as the country schools came in, had to be consolidated into town, that's when they added on the 1956 edition. And that's when I was in 5th grade. And then we went in 5th grade, then and over Christmas of 5th grade, we moved into the new elementary wing. And then when I finished 6th grade, we went back to the old building. So there was just a year and a half that I didn't spend in the 1922 building. I started, I think, in 1952, and of course graduated in 1964. Spent my first 5.5 years in the 1922 building. And what I really remember a lot about that building is it had a lot of character. They had a gymnasium that was a basement gymnasium, very small, and that's where they played basketball. And the girls and the boys basketball teams played there. I believe they would have band concerts down there, community events. I know that sometimes the community people would have a play that they would put on, and it would be down in the school basement. The school was very much a big part of the community, and everybody came. That was we didn't have the entertainment that we have now. The building, I remember when they remodeled the library. They moved the library up to the 2nd floor where we used to have a real large study hall, and they put the library in there, and they had all these brand new bookshelves, and it was so nice, brand new tables, and they had an area for the small elementary, you know, the younger students to be, and then of course we had our kind of our high school area. They had a little nook for the elementary students, and that was where the kitchen used to be. where Anna Green used to cook in the old building, is where they had that little nook for the elementary students, which was very nice. But it was a very nice library. And the home ec room then was built above that old gym. So when they put the 56 edition on, they put in a very nice home ec room there, and we had Mrs. Rosaline Jones as our home ec teacher. And of course, you know, 3 nice areas there with sinks and stoves and all the brand new equipment where we were supposed to learn to cook, but I didn't do so well, I don't think. And that's, you know, the floors were wooden and they squeaked. They did put some carpeting down in the hallways at one time so that it didn't, you know, wasn't so much noise when we passed classes. It was a very nice building.
Some of the other things about that school that were great, once every fall they would have a king and queen contest, which was a big deal back in them days. And people would come and buy tickets and put them in, who they wanted to be the king or queen, and they would have all kinds of prizes. But underneath, down in this basement, or I mean in the gym, there was some doors along the bottom on one side, and we would always fix up a haunted house down in there. And it's funny, somebody didn't get killed down there because there was no lights. You couldn't see anything. And we would drag them through there, the people that wanted to pay the money, and show it to them. That was a lot of fun, too. And something about the other school, too, at one time, at Halloween time, we put a calf. I didn't. Oh, no. Somebody else put a calf up on top of the school. And I don't know, I guess the sheriff was up the next morning, and they had to get the calf down off the school somehow.
There was an interesting day in the old 1922 building. I also had an older sister that attended there, and I had 2 younger brothers. My youngest brother, David, was in the gun safety program this year. Anyway, Mr. Bloom was our principal at that time. And all of the students would bring their guns to school, of course, for gun safety. But Mr. Bloom had the old, musket loader? Muzzle loader. Muzzle loader. He had an old muzzle loader that he brought. And he was showing the students how that loaded and everything. And of course, he was talking about that you never have a loaded gun in school, and this isn't loaded, but he was just showing them how you would pack the shot down into the gun, and so he pointed it up in the ceiling. Now this was in the lower level. This was in the first floor. Above them was Mr. McGordon's business class going on while the gun safety class was going on. Mr. Bloom points the gun up in the air and just kind of says, this is how you just kind of pull the trigger. As he did that, the gun went off. Shot a hole into the corner, I think right kind of by Mr. McGordon's desk. The shot went in. And of course, Mr. McGordon flew down the stairs, as I understand it, to see what happened, thinking that, oh my gosh, somebody must have been shot or something. It was quite the ordeal, and has been quite the story. One of the more fascinating stories at that old building. It was a very nice school. It was made a lot of friends there, and the building's going down, but all the memories last, which is a good thing.
Please join us next week as we continue to talk about the Audubon School.